What is up, everybody out there in HeroClix land? This once again is Scott Porter, back for day number 2 of our brand new Marvel HeroClix unboxing series for the brand new set, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's right, the Merc with the mouth and the man who is the best at what he does coming together in one set. Now, what's interesting about this to me is Deadpool has shared a lot of different series with a lot of different characters. Could there be Spider-Man in this set? Sure, Deadpool and Spider-Man, 50 issues long. Could there be Cable in this set? You bet your bottom dollar there could. Cable and Deadpool had a long-standing series, but Wolverine and Deadpool never actually had a series together. They've had a lot of amazing moments, like when Deadpool tried to join the X-Men and Cyclops was like, absolutely not. And Wolverine came to Cyclops and said, did you just tell Deadpool no? Do you know when he goes away, he's going to get into so much trouble on his own? People are going to die. Like, wouldn't you rather keep an eye on him? And Cyclops sends Wolverine after Deadpool to kind of keep an eye on him. There's been plenty of interaction between the two characters. But, of course, there's a film coming out soon, and I think that we're doing this to kind of tie these two together. Now, they've been tied together for a long time, whether it's however you want to call it, Weapon Plus program, Weapon X program, Department K, Department H, whatever it is that you want to call that particular science crew that decided that they wanted to give special powers to individuals and try to make them living weapons for some government, somewhere, somehow, someday. Yes, both Deadpool and Wolverine come from those particular types of situations. So they're tied together in the way that they were created and experimented on, the hell that they were put through as individuals in the early days of their character arcs. And now they are both kind of the same kind of guy, you know? People who have killed before in the name of good, people who have plenty of regrets. Well, one of them has plenty of regrets sometimes. and two heroes who just couldn't be more opposite in the way that they hold themselves, though. Grumpy, gruff, you know, softy on the inside Wolverine versus the guy that can't shut up, is always running his mouth in Deadpool. When Rob Liefeld first made these characters, he actually was told, you'll never write Spider-Man and you'll never write Wolverine. So he kind of made Deadpool and Cable his Spider-Man and his Wolverine. So he still had a grumpy character of his own. He still had a guy who spoke a million miles a minute in Deadpool. So Deadpool and Wolverine both here. So far we've seen some awesome X characters from the end of the 80s going into the early 90s. Very excited to see that. On the outside of the box, we've got plenty of Wolverines. We've got Patch. Patch is a Wolverine character that's hilarious to me. He puts on an eye patch and a tux, and he goes to Madripoor, and he's kind of like Wolverine Bond. He's like a James Bond version of Wolverine, but nobody knows it's him because he's wearing an eye patch, I guess. I don't know, but the fact that he's on the outside of the box is really cool. Weapon X is on the outside of the box. You've got Professor X dressed up as the Warlord, which was an incredible storyline. I hope we open that character so I can tell you guys all about it. It's at the end of Claremont's run. We've got X-Force on one side, which is Cable's crew, Sunspot, Boom Boom, Shatterstar. We haven't opened them yet. And of course, we've got the Deadpool core with Mimepool. What a crazy storyline that was when Dreadpool was killing all the Deadpools in the multiverse, and Deadpool put the Deadpool core together to go hunt him down. So listen, what are we getting in this? What are my best guesses? I think we're going to get more nostalgic X goodness like we did with Copycat and some of these X-Men characters. I'm hoping we're going to get more Exiles now that we've seen Morph. That is really, really cool. I think we're going to get duos as chase figures because on the back of the box, you've got Deadpool and Wolverine in that classic Predator handshake between Weathers and Schwarzenegger. It's a little reenactment of that particular scene, is what it looks like to me. And then we saw on a card yesterday, She-Hulk and Wolverine kind of doing a fastball special kind of thing. So maybe duos are our chases for this particular set. Lots of versions of Deadpool to look forward to, lots of versions of Wolverine to look forward to, but it's all those in-between characters, those lesser-known characters, surprises like Lady Mastermind we got yesterday. You know, the original Mastermind, Jason Wingard's daughter, her sister is Pixie, so could Pixie be in the set? I don't know. Could the original Mastermind be in the set? I'm not sure, but it seems to want to stick in that late 80s to mid 2000s time frame so far, with the exception of the hot shots that we got. So Domino, White Fox, I'm guessing, will probably get Diamondback, Outlaw, the rest of the characters that made up that team. We got Black Widow yesterday, so maybe a little Atlas Bear, a character we've never seen before from Wakanda. So let's break into it as soon as I tell you when the set can be in your hands. June 12th for the pre-release at all of your comic shops, gaming stores. Call them, figure out what day they're going to do their pre-release. The actual set drop, when you can actually pick up all your stuff from those stores that we're supporting when you buy your cases or your bricks, June 26th. But if you want to get your hands on this set before any of that ever happens, come down to Huntsville, Alabama, the first weekend of May for the HeroClix for Huntington's event of the year. We hold an awesome tournament weekend, event weekend, complete with battle royals, both in person and online. We have an awesome auction where you can bid on really incredible stuff from HeroClix. We have a ton of incredible prize support. WizKids is so generous with everything that they give us to share with you guys, all in the name of charity, supporting the Huntington's Disease Society of America and supporting them in their fight and their battle against Huntington's disease. It runs my family. My wife has Huntington's, my mother-in-law as well. So I am out here trying to defeat this thing, and with the HeroClix community, I can't thank you guys enough. We've gone 3 years. We've raised over $100,000 so far, and we're looking to make a lot of money this year for a fantastic cause too. And a part of that event weekend is the Scott Porter vs. the World Sealed Tournament. Again, the first weekend of May, we're going to have this in hand for everybody to have at least one booster to play with. It's going to be awesome. Last year we did it for Avengers 60th. This year we're going to be having that tournament 6 weeks before the pre-releases even happen, almost a full 2 months before the set actually releases. So come join us in Alabama for the HeroClix for Huntington's event. You can find us at HeroClixForHuntingtons.com for all of the event information. Without further ado, now that you know when you can get your hands on it, let's see what, sorry, Morph, what you can pull when you get it. All right. Man, I'm so excited for some of the things that I'm seeing on the outside of the booster, and I can't wait to see what is inside of it. Okay, oh yes, all right. Okay, here we go. We got some X Factor situation right here in the middle. We've got Shatterstar, another product of the early 90s, the Rob Liefeld, Fabian Nicieza, mind meld that they had going on over there. We've got Bob, Agent of Hydra, as well as another Hydra agent in this booster. Bob is a fan favorite. I love the guy. He is hilarious to me. I absolutely love the stories and the situations he gets himself into. Clueless man, but such a loyal friend. Atlas Bear is next. I said we probably could expect more of the hotshots, and there we go. And Atlas Bear can tell you a little bit about her very, very cool backstory. And then we've got a former New Mutant, a member of Weapon Prime, and then eventually a member of X-Force in Rictor here. Okay, very, very cool booster. Let's pull them all back and let's see who we want to look at and talk about first. I think we just have to go with the generic Hydra agent first, but yeah. This card today doesn't show us much. It is just a QR code to find a store to play at with your community of to find a gaming group near you that plays the game or to join it, and in-store organized play to find stores and venues where you can go to play the game of HeroClix. Great support piece for any new player of HeroClix. Really, really cool. Okay, let's take a look at a Hydra agent here. Boom. Hydra Agent is set number 14, Hydra Soldier and Spy. Cut off one head for all characters with this trait when Hydra Agent or another friendly character with a Hydra keyword is KO'd. After resolutions, roll a d6. On a 4 to a 6, generate up to 2 characters named Hydra Agent of 15 points or less on their starting click, adjacent to a friendly character with the Hydra keyword. Boom. There's your first look at a generic in this set. I'm not sure how many generics we could actually have in this set. Listen, Wolverine spent time in so many different places. I feel like we've gotten a lot of hand ninjas lately. He's spent time in Japan. He's battled the hand. I mean, they could always be there. I don't know. The Exiles don't really scream generics to me. The X-Men don't always scream generics to me unless we're diving into stuff like Brood and everything like that. So to get a generic like the Hydra Agent is very cool. And listen, Deadpool and Cable were storming a Hydra base when they met the next gentleman that we're going to take a look at, Bob the Hydra Agent. So it makes tons of sense that we had a generic in here just so we could get the man himself, Bob Dabalina. That is Bob, Agent of Hydra. Set number 30, AIM, Deadpool Core, Hydra, and Soldier. Do you offer Dental Deadpool? Friendly characters within range that have the Deadpool Core or Hydra keyword have the Hydra team ability, and Cowardice is the better part of Valor. Probability control, but only if an opposing character is within range and line of fire. So you have to get yourself in harm's way before you can utilize this probability control. He does have it all the way down his dial. So 5 clicks of probability control for 30 points there. Bob Dabalina, take a look at the back of his card. We've got Hydra. When an adjacent friendly character makes a ranged attack, modify the target's defense by -1 if the target is within line of fire of this character. Bob, Agent of Hydra. Love to see it. I can't put him on the bad guy side. I got to put him on the good guy side. Bob is such an interesting character, man. Look, he's had his moments to him, but I just laugh at all of the predicaments that this guy gets into by just being Deadpool's best buddy. And then it's just his times of failure are so hilarious to me. There was a time when Deadpool was battling Tiger Shark, and he's like, I need that rocket launcher, and Bob goes to throw it. He throws it so short that it just plunks into the water, and he throws it with so much might and force for it to not go anywhere that he then topples over into the water where Tiger Shark is. Deadpool's got to come in and save him. He just always makes Deadpool's life harder, which is just so funny to me. So Bob, Agent of Hydra, welcome to the club. Okay, who are we going to look at next? Let's look at our next member of Domino's Hot Shots. Hot Shots is a series written by Gail Simone, and I think we've talked about it a little bit already. Black Widow, we've already seen Domino. I'm pretty sure we're getting Diamondback, and we're going to get Outlaw as well. But Atlas Bear, Wakanda, Assassin, Mystical, and Soldier, set number 38. Hot Shots, The Last Atlas Bear. When Atlas Bear hits after resolutions, give her a Hot Shots token. Friendly characters with a Hot Shots trait have, when this character would be KO'd, if they have any Hot Shots tokens, instead, remove all their Hot Shots tokens and turn them to their last non-KO click, Protected Pulse Wave, Protected Pulse Wave. Okay, so she basically gives all of her Hot Shots friends a stop click if they have any Hot Shots tokens on them, and we've seen with the other characters how those tokens are earned. On the back, you have Wakandan Transportation, Sidestep, Flight, Passenger, 5, but only to carry characters that share a keyword with Atlas Bear, which is awesome because the Hot Shots team is 6 individuals. Well, actually 7 if you count Deadpool. Vibranium, Meteor, Hammer, Giant Reach of 3, Blades, Claws, Fangs, and Probability Control. There we go. Atlas Bear. She looks so, so cool. So this is Shunqua, and she is a Wakandan who was visited by a group of animals who are going extinct in Wakanda, actually. That's why it says the last Atlas Bear. There are these precognitive bears, these mystical bears in Wakanda who have been hunted to extinction. And the last one, before dying, visited her while she was sick. I think she was sick, like in a fever, and granted her the power of the Atlas Bears. No Wakandan has ever, I don't think, received this power that these bears have had. But since it was dying and the race was going extinct, it shared itself and its spirit and its power with Shunqua. the Wakandan transportation, she has her own ship, and it's really cool because it's passenger plus 5. There were 6 members of Hot Shots, but Deadpool made dang sure he was going to come along for the ride, even though they did not want him there for most of the entire storyline. But a pretty cool character. The thing is, for her, she's a precog, but all she can see are ill-fated timelines. All she can see is futures that are very bleak, and she's kind of taken it upon herself to make sure that those futures never come to light, which is why she shows up to become a member of this team of hotshots, because especially in this last storyline, they're dealing with what could be an extinction level event for humanity when this piece of celestial technology ends up on the Earth, and it becomes like the most dangerous arms race you've ever seen in your life as people are trying to hunt this thing down to gain the power of the Celestials for themselves so they can reshape Earth in the image of their wishes, basically. And Atlas Bear is there to make sure that it doesn't happen. That being said, she's got her own hatreds and her own fears, and she is not the right host for this piece of machinery either. So it's a very dangerous journey for them all to go on, but she shows up and helps save the world, and whether she wanted it to or not, so does Deadpool. Okay, let's go with Shatterstar next. Now, I think yesterday I talked about the fact that characters would just show up with no explanation and all of a sudden become a part of the X books, and you would get their, biography much later in the books. Shatterstar is one of those characters. The enigmatic Shatterstar has Excalibur, Mojoverse, New Mutants, X-Factor, X-Force, Future, and Warrior keywords. Set number 39, and has a special movement power, empathically driven teleportation, flurry, and sidestep. When Shatterstar uses flurry, before making the second attack, you may place him up to 4 squares away from his current square. When Shatterstar attacks one or more characters he hasn't attacked this turn, modify his attack by +1. Okay? That flurry means that if he's in close, he can be attacking more than one character. You can get this attack bonus here. A lot of improved movement, elevation, blocking, characters. You can move through all of them. Has 3 targets, 0 range, but remember, allows you to target adjacent characters at this point now as well. Tons of blades. Of course, exploit weakness. Very dangerous piece. On the back here, you see Gavidra 7, G7 is X-Force. X-Force Shatterstar number 1 is the significant appearance there. The funny thing to me with Shatterstar is when Shatterstar first shows up, you have no idea why he has shown up. At the time, X-Force was looking for a safe place to hole up, or the New Mutants actually were. His first appearance is actually in a New Mutants book. And Cable has come along, again, kind of out of nowhere, and taken up the mantle of leadership for the New Mutants once they came back from Asgard. Long story. Remember, Louise Simonson was writing the New Mutants for a while, and Louise Simonson, Walt Simonson, Thor, there's a lot of crossover there. But the New Mutants Take Asgard story is really, really cool. Suggest you go back and read it. But when they came back, they were in search of a leader, and Cable became that leader. And at this point, the X-Mansion was bombed completely. The lower levels underground still operated, though, including the Danger Room. And so they come back from a mission, and Shatterstar is in the Danger Room just going ham down there. Nobody asks this, that, or the other, why is Shatterstar even here? He meets Cable. Cable's like, hey, you want to be a part of this team? Shatterstar's like, yeah, basically, I want to be a part of the team. And then Shatterstar's a part of the team. And then they go into X-Force, and then Shatterstar's a part of X-Force. That's literally how it happened. You don't find out until later that he's come from the Mojoverse. He's come from Mojo World. And he was sent here because he knows that Longshot was sent here once as well. And he's come to find help to go back and overthrow Mojo and free everybody in Mojo World. And we say, oh, okay, whoa, yeah, he does. He looks a lot like Longshot, actually. And for a long time, everybody thought, Shatterstar probably Longshot's son. Turns out, actually, no, Longshot is Shatterstar's son. There's a lot of time-bendy stuff, but basically Longshot is made of Shatterstar's DNA, And then Longshot has a kid that he names Shatterstar after this Shatterstar. Longshot and Dazzler live happily ever after in the Mojo world at the end of this whole story, and they have a kid that they named after Longshot's dad, who ends up being Shatterstar. Don't ask me how Cable and Strife and Apocalypse and Cable's kid, Tyler, and how Cyclops and Jean going to the future, and how all of these things and all these paradox they created with all this time control got past the editors, but it did. So here you go. You got all this time travel, all these paradoxes that are made. So yeah, Shatterstar is both Longshot's son and dad. Well done. That is Storytime with Scotty P on Shatterstar there. He was just a guy that was a typical early 90s character. He's evolved a lot since then. He's become something much different than what he was when he first showed up. But when characters were showing up back there, they were very dangerous, they were very armed, they were very grumpy, they were very violent, and they were very much out for blood. And that's what that Shatterstar was, and that's what his dial, I think, emulates there. Okay. We're going to go into Rictor last. Now, Rictor had a real tough go of it. He had a lot of tragedy befall him, and when all of that was going on, he started to become very unsure of himself for a little while. He was a member of the New Mutants, but he kept on hiccuping in the most important situations, and then Cable showed up, and he completely just quit. His love for Wolfsbane, that would be really cool if we got Wolfsbane in this set too, Rain Sinclair. His love for Wolfsbane kept him around for a little bit, but Cable and him had some mysterious past. He had some anger towards Cable, and you end up finding out his father was murdered by Strife, who is the clone of Cable, also from the future, who committed a lot of crimes in Cable's name. So Rictor had a really, really, really crazy go of it. Let's take a look at his card and see all the teams that he was a part of throughout this entire journey. New Mutants, X-Factor, X-Force, X-Men, and Detective. The Detective part is especially cool for me because it's one of my favorite books, Peter David's X-Factor, especially in the early aughts as well, when Jamie Madrox was the team leader, and he came and he joined that team. He's got a trait, Geokinetic, Quake. When Rictor uses it, he deals 3 damage instead of 2. Okay. Super powerful Quake ability for Rictor here, and it makes a ton of sense because eventually when he gets a hold of all of his powers, he can do a lot of damage. If you look on the back here, one of my favorite things about Rictor is that his last name is actually Rictor, just spelled a different way. That to me is so funny, so completely funny. Okay. So with Rictor, he went through a lot, right? He went through the whole Exterminator saga. He went through going to Limbo with magic. He lost a ton of friends, and he lost his dad. And he was tricked a lot when he was a member of the New Mutants. And then once X-Force started, he had quit. He left. He left, and he went searching after Extinction Agenda, which dealt with a big storyline in Genosha. Wolfsbane was actually turned into a magistrate in Genosha, and she ended up staying behind after that storyline. So Rictor went back to get her. The next time you see Rictor, he shows up as a part of Weapon Prime. But just like everything in the early 90s, it was an acronym for something. And it was Prime. Why was it Weapon Prime? I don't know, but it was Kane. It was Grizzly, who was a member of the old Six-Pack with Cable and Domino. It was G.W. Bridge, who was a upper up at S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time, who was also a former member of the Six-Pack. But the Prime stands for Prototype Induced Mutation Echelon. Prototype Induced Mutation Echelon. Weapon Prime. Why do we need to get the acronym for Prime? I don't know, but they actually did it. They did it, folks. That's one of my favorite things to do is go look up what all these old Marvel acronyms mean. So there you go. Prototype Induced Mutation Echelon. And they were the team that was put together to go and hunt down Cable, who was thought of as a criminal at the time because of all the things that Strife had done in his name, including killing Rictor's dad. Later on, some really, really bad dudes became a part of Weapon Prime, Killjoy, and a bunch of other characters. So that's a possibility of what we could see in this set. What is in Scott Porter's cup today, by the way? You know, we had to do Mountain Dew, but we had to go with the Baja Blast because, you know, chimichangas, what goes with chimichangas? You know? What goes with, you know, Mexican food at Taco Bell? Yeah, Baja Blast. But this one is the Baja Blast Point Break Punch, which I thought was like, yeah, Point Break, Punch, testosterone, like all those things, Deadpool, Wolverine, yeah. So I'm amping myself up. It's my first soda of, I gave up soda last year. It's my first soda of 2024, and I'm here sharing it with you guys. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for being here. It's very good, by the way. If you see it in stores, go pick it up. Yeah, Mountain Dew, feel free to sponsor. Okay, moving on to our next booster here. Let's see who we have. Rictor, really, really cool character. Came back into play in the X Factor Investigations run where Jamie Madrox was the head of an investigation company helping track down mutant murderers and stuff. Rictor found happiness much later in his life with Shatterstar, actually. So it's really fitting that Shatterstar and Rictor actually ended up in the same booster together. May the two of them live happily ever after. Okay, next booster. Let's see what we have here. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. We have a Wolverine from the outside of the box. Can't wait to talk about this guy. Is that our first Wolverine that we've opened? Wait, do we not have a Deadpool either? How do we have a Wolverine Deadpool set and we have not opened a single Wolverine or Deadpool? We have Iceman again from the first day. If you didn't watch, go back, watch it. What is this? Are you kidding me? We have a Time Breaker. Okay, yeah, we're going to get a lot of Exile stuff. I am so excited about this. We get Morph. Now, we saw Morph yesterday, but some people who are just like regular Marvel readers might think that his name is Changeling. Actually, the Changeling on 616 passed away, sacrificed himself, the first X-Men to actually die in the line of duty. And then here's Jean Grey, which is really, really cool to see. Your X-Men Gold Leader in the full X-Men garb here. And the reason that it's so cool to see Jean in this uniform is for much of like this time frame of stuff that we've been pulling, Jean was a member of X Factor, and before that, Jean was dead. Jean wasn't around. There was a clone named Madeline Pryor that was running around in her stead. Madeline Pryor and Cyclops, sire to son, who went forward into the future, became Cable, which is a whole convoluted storyline all in of itself. Everybody thought Jean Grey was dead for good, but apparently the Phoenix Force, when she died, put her comatose at the bottom of the lake and kept her in this like, kind of cocoon while she healed physically, mentally, and all of those things, and then sustained her life force. And eventually, she came back. And when she did, the X-Men left, the original 5 X-Men left the X-Men and started X Factor, their own group that worked independent of Xavier and his whole dream. While Xavier went off-world and the X-Men supposedly died and disappeared and ended up in the Outback. And so Jean and X Factor, they had, she took the name of Marvel Girl again for a little while there, and she had a, like, I think it was like a red and yellow costume. But then again, at the end of Claremont's run, it's a very triumphant storyline that takes place with the X-Men versus these War Scrolls for power of the Shi'ar Empire, where they're all in these blue and yellow classic X-Men uniforms again. So seeing this makes me so giddy. I love to see her in that particular getup. We've already seen Iceman, so I'll put him to the side. We've already seen Morph. Like I said, that Morph is from... Ooh. How many guys out there and gals have alternate dimension numbers in your head? I think he's from... Universe 1081, and I think I remember that because my football number in high school was 81, and so the fact that it was 1081, I'm pretty sure it's 1081 because it always like registered with me. He's like one of my favorite characters. It was my old football number, so I love it. Anyway, I think it's from 1081. The 616 version of Morph was actually named Changeling and joined the X-Men and was the first X-Man to die in the line of duty, like I said a couple minutes ago. And that guy has stayed dead. He's never come back. He's like the original Thunderstar, the original Proudstar that was a part of the X-Men that passed away in a plane crash. Isn't that crazy? Like, think about nowadays that like X-Men died in plane crashes. Like, that's pretty insane to me that they died in plane crashes. And they stayed dead, because nowadays, that would never fly. But bad joke. Sorry. Anyway, let's go into, since we just talked about Exiles a little bit with Morph, let's go into the Time Breakers. Okay. These guys. Time Breaker. Exiles. Cosmic. Future. Past. Makes sense. Set number 6. This is a generic. This is a generic I did not expect. Calling more workers. Free. If another friendly character has not activated this same effect this turn, generate a Time Breaker on click 1. So just for free, every turn, you can pop more Time Breakers out. They don't have much going on. 5 movement with sidestep, 16 defense with toughness, but they do have a trait on the back. And the trait says Panopticon Excursion Platform. Power. Choose an adjacent character. Place that character up to X squares away from their current square, where X is the number of Time Breakers and B005 Time Breakers adjacent to that character. Okay, hold on a second. Who's going to be spitting all these Time Breakers out onto the map? A B005 Time Breaker? What is that? We'll have to wait and see if somebody spits that out. I love he's got his little hand raised here. I'm going to put him back over here. He's got his hand raised like he's asking a question. I love it. He's holding a little iPad. So the Time Breakers, they are a race, a bug-like race. It's split in 2. There's like grasshoppers, which are like the royal cask, or what do they call themselves? The sovereign cask. And then you have the worker cask, which is the little beetles, these little guys. And they were searching for a way to fix their own reality, and they kind of like burrowed their way through time and ended up at this place called the Panopticon. The Panopticon is like the center or the fulcrum where it's like the command center of like all the multiverses, making sure they're all running in the line that they're supposed to be running, right? That all these universes, all these parallel universes are staying parallel, right? There's no collisions happening, right? And when something goes wrong in reality, you have to have a team to go in and fix it. Well, they show up at the Panopticon, and while trying to fix their own reality, break the rest of the reality. All these other parallel dimensions, they start to break them. So they have to go and create this team called the Exiles. They find this mutant named Blink, who shows up in Phalanx Covenant. She's awesome. She dies so quickly, and it's so tragic. But then she shows up in Age of Apocalypse, and during Age of Apocalypse, Blink becomes a fan favorite character, and then they bring her together in Exiles with 6 other characters: Morph, Nocturne, a version of Magneto that's hyper heroic in the very beginning as well. Really well drawn, really well done characters, brought to you by Judd Winnick to start, and then Tony Bedard later. But when the team is brought together, there's this little, bulbous man who has like a purple jacket and a watch, and he gives Blink this article called the Talus, which tells her what reality she has to go into and what they have to do upon landing there. It's like Quantum Leap, right? in X-Men form. You got to go into this reality. You got to do something. You got to kill somebody, save somebody, fix something, make sure somebody's not in power, and you fix all of reality, right? I can't believe the Time Breakers are in HeroClix now. This is so cool. But about halfway through the series, you find out that guy is not real. The little bulbous guy, the little time leprechaun that comes and gives them all their missions, he is just a hologram, basically, made by all these little bugs. And these bugs are like, we thought if we showed up, there'd be no way that you'd try and save the universe, because who's going to trust a bunch of bugs? And so it's just such a funny moment. I love that series. I love that the Time Breakers are now a part of HeroClix. I cannot believe it. Yes, golf clap and well done to WizKids for including them. That is so cool. And now it's got me so amped up. I'm like, what other Exiles am I getting in this set? I did not expect Deadpool Wolverine to have that in this set. All right, Jean Grey, who we already talked about a little bit today. She would go on to lead X-Men Gold after this. Her and Scott splitting up leadership duties between 2 different teams. Actually, Storm and Scott splitting up leadership duty, but let's not kid ourselves. Jean is a leader through and through as well. Phoenix Force, X-Factor, X-Force, X-Men, Cosmic. Breaking Xavier's restraints. Mind control. When Jean Grey uses it, she may target all opposing characters within range. If she does, after resolutions, deal her 2 unavoidable damage. Manipulating my surroundings. Telekinesis. If Jean Grey used telekinesis to place a friendly character this turn, she may be given a ranged terrain action as free. On the back, you have X-Men here. Team ability, she's got some sidesteps and precision strike barrier. Of course, her name is Jean Grey. It says Uncanny X-Men number 281 is the significant appearance. That is one of Chris Claremont's final issues, writing and controlling the destiny of all of the X-Men. He had laid so many seeds in place. He had crafted so many wonderful stories. And Professor X and the Shi'ar Empire, the Dark Phoenix saga, were kind of things that had they had been existing, but Claremont, before he left, wanted everyone back in the same house. He wanted everyone to come back together. So he crafted a series of stories while being challenged by Marvel to do all these massive crossovers, because in the mid-'80s, after the Dark Phoenix saga, Marvel was like, hey, we want to do X-Men crossovers like almost every year now. So you had Mutant Massacre, which was the Marauders killing all of the Morlocks and under the streets of New York. You had the Fall of the Mutants, which led to, you know, the breaking up of the X-Men, which led to, you know, it was apocalypse based. You know, you had Archangel's creation in that. You had Extinction Agenda. You had all of these different crossovers, and somehow Claremont guided all of that through and still brought all of the family home. And Jean Grey was just one of the biggest pieces ever. You know, she shows up in X-Men number 1, Uncanny X-Men number 1, and really kind of glues that team together. And it's just such a cool character, Omega level mutant, and so cool to see her here and see her in this uniform, because for me it was the end of an era. You know, that it was my childhood reading of comics kind of ended with that little run, and then my adulthood of comics started with that whole mid-'90s comics boom where Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld and all these guys created all these stories and then left Marvel and disappeared, and it was a crazy time in comics. But before that, everything was so like crafted with care. And not to say that comic book creators still don't craft things with care, but companies could let things ride back then. You know, they can't anymore. So many things get canceled after 10 issues, and things that they have thrown out there, story threads that they wanted to run for 50 issues, just end up never getting their due. Jean Grey is one of the longest story threads and one of the most consistent characters, one of the most impactful characters, so really cool to have her back. Okay, she had an impact on this particular character, actually, that got him into this get-up here. This is Wolverine, our first Wolverine in the Deadpool and Wolverine unboxing. He's got Alpha Flight, Weapon X, X-Men, Animal, and Soldier keywords. Set number 3. Let's go, Bub. What did I say on day 1? If you're as tough as Wolverine, you can make any word sound cool, and Bub is his word. Let's go, Bub. Free. Roll a d6. Wolverine can use the resulting effect until your next turn. 1. Battle Fury. 2. Combat Reflexes. 3. Blades, Claws, Fangs. 4. Regeneration as free. 5. Flurry. 6. Choose any number of other results. So if you look at his dial there, there's no Blades, Claws, Fangs showing. You have to roll for it, right? You have to figure out a way to do it. Now, he's got some precision strike. He's got, of course, a little bit of invulnerability. And if we look at the back here, he's a wild card. And he's got the X-Men team ability. It's interesting that the X-Men team ability is on this, because this particular get-up comes right after Fatal Attractions, one of the first big crossovers for all the X books after that 1992, like, you know, Jim Lee era started. Magneto, he has Asteroid M up in outer space. He's forming a group called the Acolytes. He, for a long time in the 80s and the 90s, was a hero. He was actually a hero. When Professor X left Earth to go to the Shi'ar Empire, he actually told Magneto, look, they're going to need someone to lead them. You can do this. You can follow my dream. We can have mutant-human harmony. We can do this. And for many, many years, Magneto tried to be that hero in the 80s and the 90s. And at the end of Claremont's run, he reset Magneto to what he was, which was a villain. He failed. Some X-Men died. He thought there was no way he could actually make Charles Xavier's dream come true, especially with the human hatred around the world. And after Extinction Agenda, which dealt with Genosha and the way that they put mutants into slavery, it angered Magneto so much he went up into the sky. Asteroid M started the Acolytes, and he threatened the human population. The X-Men had to go and stop him. And one of the most impactful scenes ever in an X-Men book is when Wolverine leaps at Magneto to end him up on Asteroid M, and Magneto pulls every ounce of adamantium out of Wolverine's body. That's why this Sculpt's hands are bandaged up. He has not a lick of adamantium left in that body. And reading the issue that they say is his significant appearance here on the back, Wolverine number 75, y'all gotta read this issue. You know Wolverine can't die. I know Wolverine can't die. But the way that issue delivers his battle for his life, both psychically on the astral plane with Professor X jumping into his head, in a Blackbird that is flying down to Earth at a speed at which it cannot be kept together. Professor X jumps into his head to keep his mental state together so he doesn't die. Jean Grey is holding the Blackbird together as it's falling apart, as it's just tearing through the atmosphere. Quicksilver and Bishop are trying to keep this thing from falling completely apart and land safely so they can get Wolverine back to Earth, back to the mansion, back to the med lab so that they can actually heal him. Wolverine and it feels so dangerous. It feels like Wolverine could really die in this moment. We could lose Wolverine forever. He ends up healing, and they think that his claws have got to be gone because they're adamantium, completely adamantium. No. In his rage, in his battle for his own life to be saved, he pops his claws, and they're nothing but bone. That's when you found out for the first time. This is way before Daniel Way's Wolverine Origins or any of that stuff. This is when you found out that those claws are actually his. They're not metal claws that were put into him by Weapon X. No, they are actually his. They were just coated like the rest of his body in adamantium. And right after that, he quits the X-Men. He writes Jubilee this lovely letter about how I can no longer protect you. I can no longer take care of you, but you can do this on your own. And he leaves the X-Men, and he's gone for a while. He goes on this journey to kind of find himself once again. So there you go. He gets his adamantium back later. That's a different story with a different character, Sabretooth. But anyway, what an awesome issue. I implore you guys, look, you don't want to go buy the physical book. You can do Marvel Unlimited on the app. You can read it digitally, and you can go and just read it. It is such an intense issue, and it's so well written. It is awesome. I promise you will not be disappointed. Speaking of not being disappointed, those were our two boosters for the day, and I could not be happier with what we pulled here. Very, very cool selection. We got our first Wolverine. We're continuing on with this X-Men Coming Home theme that we've got that Claremont did at the end of his run in an incredible story. I wonder if we're going to get War Scrolls. I know we're getting Warlord, that Professor Xavier that's on the outside of the box with that golden helmet and all of those purple robes and everything. Characters that were involved in that are the Shi'ar Empire, Deathbird and Lilandra. Lila Cheney, huge part of the X-Men back in the day. Could she be in this set? We still haven't seen a Deadpool. Can't believe it. We haven't seen a member of Deadpool Corps. This is kind of insane that we actually have not seen any of these particular characters. So I can't wait to see what we're going to pull going forward. We've seen X-Force. We've seen friends of Deadpool's. We've seen loves of Deadpool's, but we haven't seen the man himself, the Merc with the mouth. So hopefully we'll pull one of those tomorrow. But before we go today, we're going to unveil two more pieces that you need to look for in your collection to dust off a little bit. The first piece that I want to show you guys is actually, since we pulled him today, Bob, Agent of Hydra, the Deadpool and Bob duo piece that we had from the Deadpool set, and it's number 49. Deadpool set number 49 is going to be Deadpool and Bob. This is getting a legacy card in this set, so go back, find these bosom buddies, make sure that you brush the dust off of Deadpool and Bob there. And the next one that I wanted to talk about is actually from the Captain America set. I unfortunately do not have this piece. It is the Weapon X piece from the Captain America set. If you remember, the super rares in that set were so impressive. And that Weapon X is actually coming out of a tank. And he's got the helmet on still, and he's got his claws popped. And that is going to be Captain America set number 59. So Deadpool and Bob, Deadpool set number 49, and Weapon X, Captain America set number 59. So find those guys, brush the dust off, and get ready to play with them again, because they're getting legacy cards in this set. Well, that's going to do it for today. Remember, if you want to get your hands on these pieces here before anybody else, show up at our HeroClix for Huntington's event in the first week of May down in Huntsville, Alabama at Lucky Dice Cafe. We've been there for the last couple of years. I can't wait to go back again. We have a sealed tournament called Scott Porter vs. the World, and we'll be using this set that week. And we have an auction throughout that event as well that anybody around the world, anybody watching this, can take part in. You can go online and you can bid for items that are hard to get, that are maybe unreleased, or you can actually bid on this particular unboxing series. You can go on there and you can bid to win everything that I unbox here, as well as the play-at-home kit, which will be Deadpool and Wolverine, the play-at-home kit, which will have Multiple Man, one of my all-time favorite characters, and the release day kit, which will have Wolvie, the baby Wolverine that was a member of an Exiles run that came, I think, back in like 2012 or maybe a little bit after that. But yeah, he's an ex-baby Wolvie. He's hyper adorable. And yeah, you'll get all of that as well as everything I unbox here this week. If you want me to sign anything, I'll sign it. And I'll be sending it out the weekend of our HeroClix for Huntington's event and sending it your way. So make sure you go to HeroClixForHuntingtons.com to see all the information about that event. We're going to have a live stream this Saturday, actually, April the 13th. So stay tuned on when that live stream will be taking place. And I can't wait to share with you all of the prizing, everything that we have set up for this year's event. It's going to be bigger and better even than it has been over the first 4 years of the event. The set actually comes out for pre-release if you can't join us down in Huntsville on June the 12th, and for full release at your comic book shops and gaming stores on June the 26th. Make sure you get your orders in. Make sure to buy local. Support your brick and mortar stores. They support our community. It's our turn to support them. Thank you to WizKids for sending all of this HeroClix goodness to me. Thank you to HyperRPG for hosting me. And most of all, thanks to you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for day number 3. Until your rolls are critical hits, peace.